Some of us have one, some have two, and some have even more. But why is that a problem? Hi biology friends, it's Sarah, your other biology professor, and let's talk about X chromosome inactivation. In many organisms, sex is determined by a pair of chromosomes, sex chromosomes. In most mammals, including humans, that's the X and the Y chromosome. Often, females are XX and males are XY. But that's a problem. You've got two alleles, two copies of each of your autosomal genes. They're set up to work in pairs. But an XX cell has twice as many copies of X-linked genes as an XY cell. And the X chromosome in humans is big, holding more than 1,400 genes. So how do both types of cells function normally? We've got a bit of a gene dosage problem here. Dosage compensation is a way to regulate, to control expression in order to equalize expression of X-linked genes in cells of different sexes. How could you change expression to balance things out? Well, you could double expression of X-linked genes in an XY cell so that the one X produces twice as much product. That even things out. Or you could cut expression in half in the XX cell. Both are strategies other animals use. But in mammals, we use X-inactivation. That means that in most adult XX somatic cells, only one of the X chromosomes is actually active. So it's kind of like everybody's only got one X chromosome. Solves the dosage problem. Of course, that other X chromosome hasn't disappeared, so where is it? Condensed into a structure called a Barr body. You can see it as a dark spot just inside the nuclear envelope. Early in development, within the first few weeks in humans, a gene called Xist is highly expressed on one X chromosome in an XX cell. Xist encodes a non-coding RNA, an RNA that doesn't contain information for making a protein. So what does it do? Copies of Xist RNA cover the X chromosome producing them, acting as a signal for proteins to come and modify the histones to condense the chromosome, inactivating it. The chromosome's loose euchromatin becomes heterochromatin when active histone marks like acetyl groups are stripped away, replaced by the marks of silent chromatin. Deacetylation makes the histone tails more positive, so they hold the negatively charged DNA tightly. The chromatin becomes so condensed that genes are repressed, inaccessible to the cell's molecular machinery for processes like transcription. To really lock it down, many regions of the DNA are methylated. Enzymes add methyl groups, especially to the C bases, cytosines, so that DNA couldn't be bound by transcription proteins anyway. These are epigenetic modifications, altering expression of genes, here we're silencing them, without changing the DNA sequence itself. The inactivated X chromosome will be replicated and passed on when that cell divides by mitosis. The chromosome count won't change in the daughter cells, but it will stay inactive in the parent cell and all cells derived from it. Which copy of the X chromosome inactivates in a given cell is random. Some cells will inactivate the maternally inherited X, while others inactivate the paternally inherited X. That means that different cells will express different alleles from X-linked genes, creating a mosaic or a patchwork of phenotypes. The classic example is found in cats. There are many genes impacting coat color in cats. But on the X chromosome is an important locus influencing coat color with a black allele and an orange allele. In Calico Cats, orange fur patches show as the result of inactivating an X with a black allele, leaving only the X chromosome with an orange allele and also the orange-producing cells derived from it. The black patches represent where a black-carrying X chromosome was left active early in development and the cells derived from it. Because the orange and black patterning is the result of random X inactivation and subsequent cell division, Calico cats are almost always females. Because in the males, all of their cells will carry the same singular X chromosome, and they'll nearly always be either all black or all orange. This same concept of mosaicism means that X-linked disorders may vary in severity in XX individuals. In heterozygotes, a lot of cells won't express the disease trait, having inactivated the X chromosome carrying it. you likely already know that sex chromosomes and sex determination aren't always straightforward. Because I said calico cats are almost always female. Calico males are rare, but they do exist. How? Those male cats have two X chromosomes. They're XXY. Just like in the female cats, X-inactivation creates a patchy phenotype. Depending on how much human genetics you've studied, you may be thinking, wait, there are XXY humans too. And if the extra X is inactivated, why does being XXY cause symptoms? It turns out X inactivation isn't 100%. There are some genes, perhaps 100 so-called escape genes, that just aren't silenced during X inactivation. Many of them are found in the pseudoautosomal region of the X chromosome. This is where genes are found that are also present on the Y chromosome. Turns out there's some stuff on that inactive X that's needed for cellular function. Dosage compensation isn't needed for these genes. Whether you're XX or XY, everybody should get 2 copies. But if you're XXY, you've got 3 copies. 1 copy on the Y, 1 on the active X, and 1 escaped copy on the inactive X. These escape genes are candidates for causing the symptoms of Klinefelter syndrome in humans. Fun story. The inactivated X chromosome will later be reactivated in the germline, the cells that will produce eggs. This ensures that each gamete carries a functional X chromosome. Before meiosis begins, Xist is downregulated and the Xist coding is lost from the chromosome. The repressive epigenetic marks like DNA methylation and the repressive histone modifications are also removed. X inactivation is a necessary dosage compensation mechanism in mammals to balance out the differences in expression for X-linked genes between XX and XY individuals. Because the inactivated X is chosen at random, different cells and their descendants may express different X-linked alleles than other body cells, and a phenotypic mosaic can result. But the additional X chromosome, or chromosomes, aren't completely silenced, and that can cause symptoms in individuals with abnormal numbers of sex chromosomes. Drop me a like if you learned something about X inactivation. Subscribe for even more biology content from me. Check out my website for tutoring resources, and I will see you next time. Bye.